Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Rejuvenate Edition 2. And we are so happy to welcome our guest from Singapore, Monica Chan, who is the co-founder of Career Contact. Career Contact is a edtech startup, and that's as much as I'm going to say because I'm going to leave it to the expert to explain to you what Career Contact is and what it does. But of course, before that, Monica, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Andrew, for the warm welcome.
Yeah. I understand again, yesterday Singapore went into a lockdown yet again. So welcome to the gang. We are all in the same boat. But having said that, I do hope that the team at Career Contact is staying safe and everyone is doing well. So
yeah, we're doing well.
I guess before we get on to Career Contact, perhaps just give us an overview of who Monica Chan is, your background, and things like that.
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
leave it to you then.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Yeah. So as Andrew has mentioned, so I'm the co-founder of Career Contact. We started this startup last year, so about a bit more than a year ago now, during the peak of the pandemic. I think for just me as a person in general, I'm also a doctoral student at Columbia University. I'm studying education technology right now. And yeah, my research focuses a bit more on like STEM education, maker education. But yeah, I mean, I've just been very passionate for the field of education technology in general. I think there's a lot of growth and potential in edtech, especially in Southeast Asia. And yeah, like, Career Contact was born out of, what we saw during the pandemic. We focus a lot on high school students, youth, just high school students and youth's digital skills development. Yeah, and our mission broadly is to expose them to, the multitude of different industries that are out there, industries that are digitizing really fast. To give them also an idea and just a better idea of like what they can pursue after high school. Yeah. And then more recently, we've started developing more of our web app platform. We are doing a lot of outreach to schools, and because these high school students who are doing the curriculum would be paired with small and medium enterprises in Singapore and also around Southeast Asia, where they get to work with these SMEs and assist them in digital challenges. Yeah, and we see that So yeah, I can go into more detail, but yeah.
Fantastic. It already sounds very interesting in terms of what you guys are doing. But perhaps just very quickly to put into context, how big is a team in Career Contact, and what sort of I guess skill sets that this team of yours is just so we can kind of understand, startups like this these days, right? To give you an idea of how what a team consists of.
Yeah, well, we are pretty lean, I would say. So my co-founder and I, we have a bunch of people in, like the software development team. We have a marketing team, social media team. We have a business development team for schools and then business development team for SMEs. But I mean, as many startups, a lot of people wear different hats. So, like it's not just one person on one team, like they might be on different teams. Yeah. So I would say actively right now around a bit more than 10 to 12 persons. Yeah. And we're actually quite a youthful team. We have a lot of either high school alumni or who are about to go into university, or or we have a couple of university students and a couple of professionals who are around 20-something years old. So yeah, I would say we're a pretty young team. Yeah.
Nice. And you also mentioned very briefly just now that the team just start. I mean, literally, Career Contact just lift off, right?
Sorry, you said a lift off?
Yeah, as in Career Contact just got started sometime last year. Is that right?
Yeah. We got started around end April, early May. Yeah. And that was when like Singapore was in the big just shut down, like absolutely no schools. We called it home-based learning.
Breaker, right?
Yeah. And that was when like a lot of events, like career education events, were canceled for students. I think there was a lot of uncertainty amongst students and teachers also in general about like what was going to happen. And you know, when are they going to get back into school? Yeah. So at the conception, we started off with, you know, just a bunch of webinars that featured millennials in interesting different career pathways. We wanted to find people who are about like 5 to 10 years older than current high school students, so that they can kind of see themselves like, okay, you know, this is something that I might be interested in pursuing, or this is a field that I had no idea about, but sounds cool. I want to, you know, look into it more. Yeah. So we started with that, just webinars during the circuit breaker. Yeah. But yeah, and then I mentioned like we pivoted slowly towards digital skills development because I think we recognize as a whole, as a company, as a team, that you know, no matter what industry you're going to go into in the future or like right now, you're gonna need digital skills. And yeah, so you know, every industry is just digitizing pretty quickly, especially a lot of like the small enterprises. And this has also been impacted due to COVID. I think now more and more people are like, okay, we really need to like move forward with this digitization plan. Yeah. And coupled with like Singapore's government, yeah, they have a plan for like the Smart Nation initiative. So yeah, this is kind of all in line. Yeah.
Nice, very nice. Now, I've heard you said these two things very prominently already, which is one, students and schools, as well as the other part, which is the SMEs. So clearly, for Career Contact, there is a two-prong approach to your, I guess, services or products, if I may say so. So perhaps start with the student school perspective. How does it work? And then in the SME perspective, how does it work?
Right. So I guess, yeah, sure. I'll start with the school perspective. So right now, we want to provide a platform to schools where, so it's kind of like an end-to-end platform where there's curriculum, like is our proprietary curriculum designed by us at Career Contact and also our you know, professionals from our industry network on user experience, web development, and digital marketing. So these are the three main pillars. So the students would go through this curriculum, then they would, you know, start on projects with SMEs. So they'll be either paired with SMEs, or they can choose like a project in our database. Like our web app has a database of different SME digital challenges, so that they can learn by doing, basically. And then they're gonna, like, you know, as they submit more and more, they can get feedback from Career Contact mentors or industry professionals, and then curate a portfolio over time, which we feel like will be very helpful in you know, any other internship, scholarship, even college applications that they might want to use it for. Yeah. So I think that is the pipeline we want to get to. And then the final step is like, you know, getting an internship, say in a startup or an SME, so that they are already, you know, going through this whole process, and it's not like a huge like jump to something that, you know, they've never done before and they don't know what to expect, so that, you know, they're coming in with a more informed idea. Yeah. So that's on the school's perspective. Oh yeah, I guess that's more on the school's like students' perspective. And then we have a portion for teachers where they can be on the platform also and track their students' interests and the students' activities. So for example, if, you know, like this teacher sees a particular student like, oh, you know, my student keeps signing up for these events on sustainability, and this student started doing more like UX projects for an urban farming social enterprise. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know, you know, my student had an interest in sustainability. So I think these are things that we think would be interesting to like the form teacher when they, want to engage with the students more holistically. Yeah, so there are some like trackers provided for the teacher to kind of watch their students' progress. Yeah.
So it's a separate dashboard altogether for teachers.
Yeah, so there's like a student-facing end and a teacher-facing end. Yeah.
I guess, sorry, I'm just going a little deeper into
Sure.
perhaps the back end, I suppose. When you say that there is a interface for the teacher, how do you give access to the teacher in terms of the number of students? So if it's only one student signing up from that one school, do you still also give the teacher if he or she is interested to be tracking the
so
like a minimum number?
Right. Yeah. So we've been trying a more B2B approach where a single teacher can like sign on their entire class. So like maybe, I don't know how many, like 20 to 40 students, it depends on the school. And so that they can track every student's progress or like an aggregate, have like a sort of like an analytics overview of all their students. So yeah, one teacher can have access to, they can make their own class basically. Yeah. And then all the students they'll have their own accounts. Yeah. Yeah. So that's our idea for the school facing end. Yeah.
And that's all free for
yeah, so we
do
do have subscription plans, and they are at different levels. There's a free version, then there's like a value, there's a more premium version. They differ on like how much access that the student has towards like past events that we've held, like the speakers about different industries. They differ based on like the access to the curriculum. So we have 3 different courses, as I mentioned. And, one plan has, maybe access to one, but then the most premium plan has access to all courses. So I think it just really depends on, what the school's goal is. Like maybe, we will also want to kind of tailor it to fit the school's needs. So if the school doesn't need everything, then, they don't need to buy everything. And if they want to focus maybe a lot more on UX, maybe this is a particular program that is more related to UX or like graphic design, visual design, things like that, then maybe they just want the UX portion so that they can just subscribe for the plan that has access to one of the courses instead of all 3. Yeah. But yeah, so we do have different like plans. Yeah.
Okay. I guess just to jump a little bit ahead before you move into the SME,
Mm-hmm.
share like the number of pickups or number of signups in terms of schools that are actually
right. So right now we have about 300 plus students on our platform. We're still working to really like secure a school subscription for that is like recurring. Yeah. So right now, because we've been piloting, we only developed the web app earlier this year. So yeah, I would say we're still pretty new. Sorry, yeah.
Sorry, when you say the 300 students and you're still trying to sign up schools,
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying that 300 students have actually signed up on their own accord?
Yeah. So we've actually reached out to them via like webinars. We have a newsletter that actually a bunch of students. Actually, our newsletter has about, I think, more than 1,600 students on it, I think. Yeah. And so, through these methods, we just tell them like, hey, we have a web app. It's kind of in beta still, but, it is working and you can sign up for it. You can, sign up on the app and then you'll get access to these events. You can look at the digital like challenges that are on it. You can look at the internship listings down the road. You can look at the portfolio builder feature. Yeah. So, so we do have students on it, but we are trying to, we're still working towards like securing a more like permanent deal with a school to have teachers recurring and using the app. Yeah.
But these 300 students, they are actively getting on with projects and
Some are
task,
more
I
active
suppose?
than others. I mean,
Okay,
some just
that's
go there and
natural. Yeah,
go for an event or sign up for an event. But
yeah.
some are, I would say some are a bit more into the projects. Yeah, so it's a whole mix. Yeah. Yeah.
I suppose SMEs, what is that perspective then? How do they come in? Of course, you spoke about pricing as well.
Mm. Yeah, so for SMEs, we have been doing the outreach to SMEs also. So mainly I guess I'll sell to SMEs is that, we can work on like if you need digital assistance in terms of like digital marketing or web development or UX, then we can, help if you craft a kind of a narrower problem statement, then we can help you deliver something. But in this process, it's going to be high school students also working on your project. They will be mentored, but so basically it's high school students working on it, and then we charge a lower price than usual, like higher professional fees. Yeah, because we do realize that for SMEs, especially like either sole proprietors or just very, very small SMEs or startups, I think like costs an issue, and sometimes like you can't pay thousands for like a digital marketing plan strategy, and so we can come in and help these SMEs develop what they need. Yeah.
So when you say the pricing is not professional level kind of a thing, could you just give us an idea?
Yeah. So
gauge, I suppose.
that's about a couple hundred Sing dollars for a UX or web development project. Yeah.
Okay.
So we've pegged it to Singapore dollars at the moment. Yeah.
And when you say these high school students or those that are doing these projects, right? They are mentored. You obviously there's some form of guidance from someone who has obviously experience, correct?
Yeah. So internally we have mentors on our team, but we also have like a closer network of like industry professionals who may give feedback to students' projects or like their development along the way. Yeah, so they're not like completely on their own, because we also don't expect them to be like, suddenly like a ninja in UX design in like 2 weeks from the curriculum. Like, we realize that's not going to happen. So yeah, they are still given guidance. Yeah.
So I suppose then it's quite easy, I suppose, to get industry partners to come in and support and
it has been varying. So sometimes some SMEs are quite excited that, these are high school students. I think there are some founders that are also, they really want to develop youth talent, or they're actually looking for high school interns, but sometimes they can't find the right fit. So, we tell them like, hey, you can use this process as like a pre-screening tool, sort of like, so when, the student does a digital project or challenge and you like their deliverable or outcome, then, we can kind of like segue into an internship, which has happened to actually a couple of our students. Yeah. And I think that's like the ideal pipeline that we want to go through. So that's, I guess, like the more the SMEs who are like interested in, having high school students, interns on their team already. But we've also heard from some SMEs or startups that are a bit unsure about the standard that high school students can deliver. Yeah. So it's so either they need a bit more convincing, or sometimes then, a deal doesn't work out. But yeah, that's kind of part and parcel of entrepreneurship, I think, in general.
We'll come back to that point in the later parts of our discussions.
Sure.
Moving on to the programs, you obviously mentioned the three programs that you guys are running: web development, digital marketing, as well as the user experience part of it. Could you give us an idea of how each of the program works, the module, the curriculum, I suppose?
Sure, yeah. So for the UX one, we introduced them to basically UX research and UX design. So UX research would involve like, interviewing methods, surveys, and some of the like design thinking processes. We also source from different like sources since there's a lot of information online. Yeah. And then on the UX design part, we introduced them to Figma, which is an industry standard tool right now. And yeah, we have like little projects for the students to kind of get their hands dirty, trying to tinker around on Figma. Yeah, so that's for the UX portion. And then, oh yeah, we also do discuss like some case studies in like, bigger tech companies or startups that have used, like they've gone through the whole like UX design flow from, gaining empathy from your user all the way to prototyping, testing, and collecting all the data and iteration. So yeah, we do discuss these case studies with the students. And then for web development, it's more on low-code web development. So we expose students to a bunch of different low-code platforms. I mean, there are so many now, like Wix is very popular, WordPress, Shopify, Notion. And I mean, the more important thing is like deciphering like, okay, so, when to use what, like sometimes the use case is quite broad, like you can use any. But sometimes maybe the startup or the SME that you're working with already has, gotten started on one platform. So they should look into that platform in more detail and follow up on whatever has been done on that platform. Yeah, so as not to like reinvent the wheel. Yeah, so that's web development. And then digital marketing, I mean, is also quite broad. So we do expose them to like some of the marketing like terms, but also just on social media analytics, like, hey, on Twitter, you can track all these, on Instagram, like if you have an Instagram business account, you can track all these different metrics. We go through like, okay, so like, what do these metrics mean? What can you interpret from them? And yeah, just to, I think like for high school students, they might have an Instagram account, but it's like an individual account, it's not a business account. So they don't really like look at the analytics as much. Like, hey, there's a peak at this date. Like, why was there a peak? Yeah, so just to get more interpretations out of it. Yeah. So yeah, that's I guess an overview of the 3 different sections of the curriculum. Yeah.
Particularly, how typically, I mean, how long does a student go through for a single program, I suppose?
Right. So it's not meant to be long. Like we've done it in 2 weeks in a pilot that we had. Well, in a program that we had. Yeah. So
sorry, when you say 2 weeks, these are students with at least some form of a basic knowledge. Is that right?
No, actually, they usually come in with minimal knowledge in UX, web development, or digital marketing. Yeah, so our courses is like bite-sized in the modules, so it's technically self-paced. So if a student like really tries to go through everything in 3 days, they might be able to. But I think we've done it reasonably in about 2 weeks. I think it's still a little overwhelming. Like it's a lot of information to get through in 2 weeks, but they've done it. Yeah, but as I said, it can be self-paced. So like say in a school setting, if a teacher decides to like lead this portion a bit more and they want to spread it over the course of a term, like 10 weeks, that's fine, that's doable. And we also do realize that, in school, like maybe the lessons are like weekly, the meetings are weekly rather than like daily. So when I said 2 weeks, it was like 5 days a week. You're doing this curriculum, you're exploring the tools. Yeah.
Okay.
So it varies. Yeah.
Fantastic. I guess moving on from that, right? I do understand there is plans for career contact to widen your network to Southeast Asian enterprises and whatnot. I guess that's one, how you are looking at doing it at this current juncture. Secondly is perhaps more towards home in Singapore, like how open are local enterprises in terms of, I know you mentioned earlier there are some deals that don't work out and whatnot. I guess just to give us a picture of how local SMEs are supporting your career contact course.
Sure, yeah. So I guess there were like two questions. How do we onboard SMEs? Yeah, so right now it's we're really onboarding by just a lot of outreach. Our business development team has been just sending emails, doing calls. Yeah. So I mean, just to get the word out that, you know, we exist, these are our services, this is what we can provide. But yeah, I mean, if you're listening to this and you're interested and you're an SME, like, you know, drop me an email. I'll put my email in the chat later. But yeah, I think, I mean, that is kind of how we are going about at the moment. And then for the second question on how are like Singaporean SMEs reacting, yeah. So there are like a lot of different personas of SMEs in Singapore. So they're the ones that question like, why do I even need the tech? So and then they're the ones who already see the usefulness of like digitizing. Yes, we need to integrate this app and that app. But then there also, I mean, I think the more common reason for SMEs that do not want to engage is that they feel like they don't have the bandwidth to like mentor a high school student, which I would say they wouldn't be directly like, you know, spending every day like 1 hour kind of thing mentoring the student. It would be more of post your digital challenge, and then you know, a student might pick it up to work on it, and then they can get mentored by other industry professionals. So not necessarily that the SME founder or startup founder has to mentor directly. Yeah. So I think people I think that was like the main reason in terms of like we're not sure like how much time is needed. You know, we're doing like 10 other different things, and it's a cool project, but maybe not now, we're a bit early. Yeah, so these are some things that I'm hearing for SMEs that are a bit less supportive. Yeah, so we do hope to change like that mentality that I'm not sure whether a high school student can do this at all. Like we would like to change that because we do believe with you know, with guidance from the curriculum and also from like an online community of mentors and industry professionals, so external mentors, I think a student will be able to you know, do something that is productive for the SME. Yeah. We did a pilot last year, and I think it went pretty well. I think the SMEs were generally pretty pleased with the results that the high school students produced. And I mean, upon sharing it with the teachers, like the students' teachers, like they were actually pretty amazed that, you know, their student was able to do this in like 6 weeks. Yeah, because usually these students do not have prior experience in design or web development, things like that. Yeah.
So that was actually leading to my next question about success stories. I was just wondering if you could expand a little bit more on that 6 weeks task, and then you know.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, so I mentioned just now, like our kind of pipeline was curriculum, digital challenge, and then finally like leading up to an internship. So we had one student who they were involved with the curriculum and everything. They did a digital challenge that was to help like their so in their school there's a cafeteria and a store, but the store wasn't doing as well. So they helped like the auntie in the store draft like a digital marketing plan, or like do like a website redesign, something like that. And then they used an app called Coco Cart actually, which was also a Singaporean startup. Yeah. And they use that app to develop the like page for that store owner. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then it kind of led like, and then it led to that student finally getting an internship at Coco Cart itself. Yeah, because Coco Cart found out like, hey, so they're using our app, and they're using like they seem to be very familiar with it already, and you know, like because this student was already familiar with the app, used it in a setting to help another SME, and then they were interested in hiring the student to be on board with a team for like a full-time internship during their holidays. So I think this was a success story in terms of like, you know, guiding a student through the digital skills curriculum, doing a challenge, and then finally landing an internship because the student did not have prior knowledge in digital skills in general. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah,
Now,
we're working to have more of these success stories. Yeah, yeah.
Great. We do have a couple of questions on the chat. One that actually leads to my next question, actually. So I might as well just ask it now. Billy asks, does your curriculum require the Education Ministry's approval?
Yeah, so right now we have not received MOE's approval. So we.
But is it required though? Sorry.
I think if we want to incorporate it to like the formal curriculum time, then I think yes, it does have to go through some I think some vetting or paperwork with MOE. Yeah. But say if we are a vendor or something like that, you know, and for like different schools, I think independent schools are a little different from the like local government schools. Yeah, so we are still working out these processes. We are also looking to partner with other government agencies. So, but yeah, I mean, if anyone in the audience has either connections to like IMDA, MOE, like please reach out to me again because we do want to we are, you know, we see ourselves going in that direction. So yeah.
So I guess my question was also talking about, you know, collaboration with various Singaporean government authorities or agencies. So I suppose you would also be open to, you know, perhaps government agencies that are within the Southeast Asia region as well?
Yeah, I would be, yes. Yeah,
okay.
Because we do intend to expand to other Southeast Asian countries. Yeah, we know that the market is not just in Singapore. Definitely like Malaysia is on our agenda. Yeah, Philippines, Indonesia. So yeah.
So I guess just to put it into perspective, if let's say I were to ask for a school curriculum that is perhaps 8 months long, you would be able to construct a module that can stretch out to 8 months.
Yeah, I think
right?
So I think we've been customizing with different partners already. So like there was a school that requested like, hey, we just need a 3-week but very condensed, like everyday sort of curriculum. We made it work. You know, what was done last year was, sure, it was 6 weeks long, but it can definitely be extended to like months long. It can be like the cadence of meetings or like how fast the students are going through the curriculum. Yeah, it can all be customized and tweaked. So yeah.
Now, there was obviously on this month is the World Youth Skills Day, and LinkedIn did publish I guess a post about top skills in specific countries across the region. And if you take a look at that list, at the top 10 list, there are a lot of skills that you know Career Contact is covering. I suppose my question would be, in the Singapore context, are parents still very skeptical, or I suppose still very, no lah, you're going to become a lawyer, you're going to become a doctor, you go and become an engineer. What is all this software development? What is all this web design? And
I
is there
think
that sort of a
I think that sentiment still exists a bit, but I think it's much less than 10 years ago. Yeah, than before. Yeah, because I think like the tech industry has, taken off a lot more in Singapore, and with the government's push for like their smart nation initiative, I think everyone recognizes more and more that digital skills are important. It's going to be very interdisciplinary in different jobs. So yeah, but I think in terms of like say parents that are I think parents still see or just in general, I think the population sees exams as a big deal breaker. So sometimes when you approach someone and they're like, oh, but this subject is not graded. Yeah, it's not graded, but it's still important. It's important to build a portfolio. Not everything is just like a summative grade, like an A at A level. Yeah, like a student is a lot more holistic and well-rounded than just getting 4 A's at A levels. Yeah. So yeah, I think we are still kind of a bit bounded by the grades-based system. And I think that the government also realizes that, because they've been making some changes to like subject banding, to how the primary six leaving exam is conducted. Yeah. So there are some incremental changes. Yeah.
Okay, good. Interesting to know that. I just noticed another question as well. It says here, hi Monica. Are there challenges where students are unable to cope with school studies and projects with career contact, and how do your team manage to the work timeline with the clients?
Right. So we personally haven't come across yet when the students are absolutely like unable to cope with school projects and their own studies. So I mean, we have heard from some students like, that hey, it was difficult to juggle doing it at the same time. But I think it is part and parcel of the learning process on time management, and setting up expectations. Like, if for the next month you're going to be quite busy with school, or you have like, I don't know, like A levels coming up, or like your whole month is just common tests, then maybe take a step back from the projects. Yeah. And the thing is, we are trying to get a bit more structure into this, which is why we are approaching schools to work with them, so that some schools have like a program where they might have like an elective module, or like a bit of an after school section where it's like a weekly meeting, or like twice a week sort of meeting, so that students can like dedicate that time to working more on like career contact projects with other SMEs. Yeah. So yeah, just getting that into like more regular schedule. Yeah, rather than like just a huge just a lot of like variation in their schedule. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Now, I suppose my question would be, these programs that you have, they can absolutely run remotely, correct?
Yeah, so we've actually been a remote first company. We started remotely, we're still remote. Yeah, so, and I mean, our web app platform means that it can be accessed by students remotely. Yeah.
Fantastic. So that means our friends in Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, even in Malaysia can sign up.
We actually worked with a school recently in Thailand. And this was the more condensed 3-week program. Yeah. That they wanted. Yeah. So yeah, it was all remote. We never met the students in real life, but for them, we did more of like a digital marketing focus. Yeah, since it was just 3 weeks long. And yeah, we discussed with the teachers, like, what do you need? We can provide, we can customize the curriculum a bit. Yeah. So yeah,
so there is already an example, I suppose, with a school in Thailand. So I hope our audiences here in Malaysia who are listening in and who are teachers as well, that are interested, please to get in touch with Monica. So I'm just going to jump into that very quickly in case I lose my train of thought. Now, if you go to the Rejuvenate website, under the section of speakers, you will be able to see Monica's bio there. And in her bio, you will be able to also see her contact points. So that's where you can also get in touch with Monica as well, just in case. Now, moving very quickly, Monica, what are the plans for Career Contact moving forward? Of course, world domination is something that we have already spoken about at length, but anything more strategic in that sense, I suppose, or,
Sure,
or
yeah.
something more to share?
Yeah, I think for at least locally in Singapore, really identifying a school partner that can work with us more closely with the web app platform, and the curriculum. I mean, we'd like to see that play out because we are new, but we do want to enter and the schools in Singapore properly. I think for expansion wise in Southeast Asia, we're definitely looking at non-Singaporean markets. We do realize different countries have different cultures, different ways of how the schools work. So I am exploring school business development a lot in other Southeast Asian countries also. And I think for like the SME side, I mean, we're constantly doing outreach to more SMEs that need digital assistance. So, we want to talk to you. Yeah. So, and it doesn't matter whether you're based in Singapore or not, or in a different Southeast Asian country. Yeah. Yeah. So I think these are the main plans for the school side and the SME side. And yeah, we're constantly developing more features on our web app platform also. So yeah.
I suppose also developing curriculum as well, right? Because as you know, technology and especially in terms of digital knowledge, something you learned yesterday could be already obsolete today.
Yeah, we are iterating our digital curriculum. Like when we had the first like development of it last year, it was like November, December, and then in March we had to go back and review it, iterate on students' feedback from the last year. Yeah, so we really value students' feedback. We also want to tailor it more to what SMEs are using, what they like, platforms that they might already be on, just to make it culturally relevant also. Like we don't want to be just randomly throwing a tool or a platform on our curriculum where hardly any SMEs will use. Yeah. So as to close that gap. Yeah.
I really like the way you have given thought to getting feedback from all parties, right? Like what the students would like to learn and their feedback from what they've already used from your program, as well as from the SMEs in terms of what they are currently going to be using and things like that. As well as obviously looking at overall trends, not just regionally but also globally. So fantastic. I suppose parting thoughts from you, Monica. What would you say to a youth today getting out into the workforce, I suppose, or perhaps are already in the workforce and are looking to upskill or reskill? We are constantly relearning, unlearning and relearning.
Yeah. I think I mean in terms of advice, I think it's for a young high school student, or if you're in university, like exploration is key. Don't just explore what you're familiar with, explore what you're also unfamiliar with, and you might find yourself growing in ways that you didn't expect at all. And this does not only apply to digital skills, it can apply to just many other experiences. And actually, I also wanted to add that like all communication, soft skills and all that is actually the thing that is going to be more constant in terms of, like in your professional career. So like digital skills, as Andrew has mentioned, like it's gonna change, like, the most common like programming languages used today may not be as common in the next 5 years. But the kind of the willingness to learn and be open-minded and just diving into things that you're not familiar with is so much more important. Yeah.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to say a big thank you to Monica for spending her afternoon with us and sharing about what Career Contact is all about and what Career Contact is hoping to do in the coming future. I've dropped the Career Contact website on the chat box. Again, like I mentioned, Monica's contact details are available in the rejuvenatemy.com website under the speaker section in her bio. And to get in touch with her and I suppose all your socials are Career Contact. Is that right?
Yeah, so I've dropped it in the chat also. So yeah, if you find us on Instagram, Medium, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, we're all Career Contact. I think Twitter's the only ones that Career Contact CC, but yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we've got it. So Monica, once again, on behalf of the team in Rejuvenate Edition 2, we would like to say a big thank you to you for imparting your knowledge and wisdom, as well as sharing about what Career Contact is doing. So ladies and gentlemen, right after this, we will be back at about 2 p.m. To talk to the CEO and founder of Asia Mobility, Ramachandran Munyandi. And then we will go on to another guest based in Shah Alam, working at the Selangor Human Resource Development Center, before we close the evening later on in India, US, and Australia concurrently. So with that, we would like to say thank you. And Monica, please do stay safe and stay well.
Thank you, you too. Yeah, thanks for this opportunity. Bye.